Hi guys, welcome back to the Push Training Academy. Today we're going to do CPR on an infant, anywhere from a day old to under 12 months or 1 year is an infant. So again, they really wish their baby is in trouble, any sort of emergency. And I always stress on this. So far as we're human being, it's possible, it can happen. When it happens, what can you do or what are you going to do? Last week we did discuss about the adult CPR, that when you'll be now hear help or all of a sudden they have cardiac arrest, how can you help them? And I did explain that in depth. Today, I'm not going to go so much in depth because it's basically the same things we're going to do. It's just some slight differences that you need to watch for if you are trying to save an infant's life, okay? So again, I did explain an infant, and this is an infant mannequin. Hey, baby. Hey, doll. See you on baby? Yes. Anyways, I made a video on TikTok and it really got a lot of engagement, and that's why I want to do it here on YouTube as well. So just imagine, it's every parent's nightmare, especially if you're a new mom and you just had your baby and something happens out of nowhere and your baby cannot breathe again. Scary. Nobody ever wants that, right? But stuff happens, and when it happens, what can you do? So the first things first, again, because it's your baby, or when you're working in a hospital, in the community, anything you could do, we have to go through the process first, as if you are out in the community. I am trying to focus more on the community because in the hospitals, there are certain things in place. We already know you are safe. We already have the advanced equipment to help you. What if you are in the community or you're home? What can you do? First things first, make sure you are okay. 2, your scene is safe. That's the priority. Safety first, no matter what. If you're not safe, how can you help another person? So make sure your scene is safe. 2, we are gonna make sure there is no pulse and there is no breathing on the baby before we start. So we have assessed the scene, it is safe. The second thing we're gonna do, most babies do have respiratory issues, and that can indirectly cause cardiac issues. So sometimes we note this. When your baby, there's an emergency and you feel like your baby's not breathing, you want to truly try and give them 2 breaths. At least give them breaths before you initiate anything. So you're gonna put your mouth in the infant nose and their mouth together, and then you're gonna breathe 1 breath every second for the infant. Okay, so you're gonna breathe through the baby because babies breathe through their mouth and their nose. So that's what you want to do, to cover both their mouth and the nose and give them the breaths. Are we good? All right, so make sure your scene is safe. 2, before you do anything, we are gonna tap them. With the adults, we do tap them. Are you okay? Are you okay? Infants really do have reflexes, both of the feet, right? So that's where you're gonna tap them. You know, they're not gonna respond to you, but if they have life and they're okay, if you tap them at the sole of their feet, they're gonna shake. So when you tap them, the are you okay here for adults, you're gonna do it at the sole of the feet for an infant. They're not shaking, nothing is happening, and you're like, oh my God, what do I do? Where you're gonna check the pulse is the brachial one. So the adult, you check the pulse under the groove of the jaw. With infants, you're gonna go the arm closest to you, right here in the inner arm. That's where you're gonna check for their pulse. Again, check for 5 seconds, but not more than 10 seconds. Time is very critical here. You still don't see anything, you don't see a fall and rise in their chest, you need to begin CPR. I first told you with infant, a lot of this issue starts because there could be a respiratory issue going on. First, give them 2 breaths and do this assessment. If nothing else is still happening, go ahead and give them CPR. Remember, in the older people, you get one arm, lace it and put it at the center, lower part of the chest to give them compressions. With infant, So it's no longer, according to AHA, you no longer use 2 finger at the center of the heart no more, but you could use 2 encircling thumbs, your 2 thumbs, and circle it around the infant to do your compressions. So no longer this, according to AHA, there's been some changes in the guideline. So you no longer use your 2 fingers to do the job no more. You use your 2 thumb at the center of the heart, right at the lower part of the sternum. Again, you could use the 2 nipples as a guide and right here. And if you are alone, you're gonna do 30 compressions. Every 30 compressions, you're gonna give the baby 2 breaths. Every 30 compression you do, you're gonna give the baby 2 breaths. So see, now we are only doing compressions, right? If I do it well, the depth and the rate is okay. You're gonna see the 2 green lights right here. If I do it too fast, see how the amber light is blinking? And if I don't do it well, look at, so that means I'm not doing anything. So you really need to pay attention. And this is a mannequin, I say all the time. It gets to be a little bit tricky when you're doing it at an adult or a child or an actual human being. This is just showing us if we're doing great or not. Okay. Now, when you're gonna give your baby the breaths, right? The same thing with an adult. You're gonna tilt your head back. This is the head chin tilt to open the airway before you give them the breath. So it's the head chin tilt before you give them the breath. And you're gonna cover both the nose and the mouth with your mouth to give breaths. If this is your child or an infant, there's not gonna be so much going on. We don't know, but you really wanna save the baby, right? And it goes a long way if you're able to give breaths and alternate it with compressions. It's so important and very crucial. So again, you touch the forehead of the baby and then your 2 fingers right here and you tilt it. Try to cover the baby's mouth and the nose, and then you're gonna give them breaths. So you give them one enough to raise the chest and bring it down, enough to do that. So every 30 compressions, you're gonna give 2 breaths. Now let's say you are in the community and you have someone who is, let's say you are in the community and you have someone who is able to help, right? You've assessed your scene, you screamed for help, you've already assessed your infant, and you know that they are lifeless, they need help. What else can you do? Let's say when you call for help, someone else in the community knows how to do this and they come to your aid. Now, if you have 2 people doing this, you're gonna do 15 compressions to 2 breaths. So one will be the person giving ventilation and the other person will be the compressor. So let's say I do have help and I'm gonna do this. So you're gonna do every 15 compression, the other person is gonna give the baby 2 breaths. 15 to 2 when you're 2 people, but 30 to 2 when you're 1 person, okay? The other thing you could do that is approved by AHA is that you could use the heel of 1 palm to also do compressions, whichever one that's easier for you. Remember, we went through this. You want to lock your elbow. See how my elbow is locked? Meaning it needs to be straight when you're doing the compressions, right? You need to be like over the person so that you are able to see how I'm leaning forward on the person on their side. You're not gonna go on the head, you're not gonna go by the feet. You're just gonna be on the side of the patient or the person you're trying to rescue, and then you do that. I find this more convenient, and the 2 encircling thumbs is more convenient as well. So again, if I'm by myself, I am gonna push 30 compressions. Let's say this is 30. I showed you how to give breaths. You're gonna give 2, 1 and 2. You go back 30 and 2. If I have another person helping me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, while the other person gives the breaths. All right. So this is the infant CPR, and that is what you're gonna do. Remember, I know I went through some of the procedures for the start, but I'm gonna end it as well. Nobody ever thinks their infant is ever gonna go into cardiac arrest, any sort of an emergency, or their baby will all of a sudden shut breathing. That's scary. But knowledge is power. When you're equipped, you know more, you know better. So what do? That is why I'm bringing this training to you. I do this training. If you're looking for certification, I can help you with it. But I also want to enlighten our people that if, God forbid, you ever come across a baby, an infant, or your child or someone else you know, please be the reason someone lives if you're able to do it, okay? You're gonna assess the scene to make sure that you're safe. You are going to call 911 so they can be on their way to help. If you have your phone, dial it before you start. If you don't have your phone, carry the infant with you to dial 911 and call for help so that help will come on the way while you're doing this. You don't want to be there alone. You don't want to be stuck alone. Plus, we do want advanced care for this baby who is suffering. This is the Pris Training Academy. Thank you for staying tuned with us. We appreciate you all the time. If you haven't followed us, kindly follow, subscribe, share, like, tell a friend to tell a friend. Send this to your mom, your dad. Send this to new parents. Everyone needs to watch this. CPR is not only for healthcare workers, it's actually for every single person, so that in case there's an emergency, you already know what to do. You do not want to learn in the emergency when something is already happening. You want to equip yourself so that you know what to do and you can jump in to save someone's life. Thank you for staying tuned, and I know you're going to be able to save someone's life. Peace out.